Hello, this is Liz with Crafty Devotion, and today I will be teaching you how to make these beautiful, basically they are corsages. And I decided to put the center of these corsages some of my beautiful flowers that I love using my a la Liz technique. And this pink one is actually an organza flower. And the other two are not organza. They're actually a different type of a satiny type fabric. So this is the lavender one. And here is I'm going to call this one the beige one. I don't know. Here. And I actually began making these when I was designing for Shabby Chic Boutique. And this was my original one that I made, and I made it for them. And I was using her laces, trying to use her laces in what I was doing. And she actually had provided me with this stretchy lace. And this is what I turned her stretchy lace into. You'll be able to actually go to Shabby Chic Boutique and purchase their items if you want to use, get the same things there. But what I have are these, and I'm going to show you how I made them. But I really like this color too. I only made, I think, 8 of the lavender. I mean, I only have enough for 8. I can probably put more together, but there might be changes. And what I did with the lavender is the only difference is that here there's actually a flower here and a flower here. That is just a very different flower compared to these ones. This one's more of a chiffon flower, and this has an organza pre-made flower. And so that's the difference. And then the centers. I also have I'm going to be making kits, so this is as though you have a kit. So if you don't purchase a kit, you can still make one. You just use your own things. And for this one right here, I'm going to be using, when you do get the kits, it's going to be this fabric here, because I don't have any more of this fabric. I thought I had some, and I don't. So I'm using this fabric, which is another gorgeous fabric that I use to make these flowers. It's just gorgeous. I think I do have an organza that's in a beige color, but I do like this fabric better. So this is what we are going to make today. Now what you'll get in your kit is this is what you'll first begin with. You will get a piece of stretchy lace. Now with that stretchy lace, you'll probably get about 18 inches of it, so you get more than you need. But I want you to measure, take it and measure around your wrist. My wrist, when I measured it, it's about 6.5 inches. Okay, so then you take the 6.5 inches and you add 3 inches to that. So 6.5, 7.5, 8.5, 9.5 inches. So you want to make your strip that long. So there you go. Mine's about 9.5, and it doesn't have to be exact because this is a stretchy lace. It's just a good standard for you to start with. So since your wrist is going to be a different size than mine, you can decide if you want it tighter, then you can make it tighter. But I will also provide you with this oval piece of felt, and that's the first thing you're going to use. And you're going to want to glue on something that is, it's non-stick, and this is my non-stick pad that I'm going to use for right now. And I want you to take your felt, and I'm going to have you glue it right like that. And instead of the front of the lace, you're gluing it on the back of the lace. Now here, the felt is what's going to be behind you, what you're going to touch with your skin. So if you keep that in mind, you'll be able to understand that. And you can use the hot glue, or you can use the other fabric tack. But for the sake of, I want this to just go really fast, I'm going to use this. Last time I did a project, I did use fabric tack. And you may want to use fabric tack on parts of this. And you just all I want you to do is to glue it right here in the center, just so there's space on each side. It's not an exact thing. So this here, this part is going to be what's going to touch you. And so the reason why you need to put it on something that's non-stick is because it will go through. You can see it's right there. It will go through. And then what I want you to do is I want you to notice this line here, and this part, you're going to flip it over. You're going to glue it so that the edge is here. So you're going to glue it right there. So this is the part you're going to be placing everything on top of, and this is going to be the inside. So even if you do it opposite and you mess it up and you do it inside out, you probably have enough lace to do it again. But you do, okay, so that's all I'm doing. There you go. And so now that you have the felt there, you can actually glue it right over. Okay, and then on top of this, here is where you will begin placing the rest of your project. But you can, before you do that, you can actually test it. You can stick after this cools down, let it dry a little bit. Then you can put your arm in there, and you can see that for me, it's just the perfect. It's not too tight, it's not too loose. You will find in your kit this lovely organza flower, and it's tied with string. That's how I make my flowers. If basically this is the top, and it can be either way. So if you decide that this is your top, then you need to trim the string shorter. Okay, so you have that, and then you are going to have this piece, and this piece is what we'll start with. Oh yes, I do need to tell you this. I usually take my thick sticky thingy, and I do stick it in there just so that there's something underneath it. Or you can take the tip of this mat or whatever mat you have, and we are going to place this piece on first, and let me show you how it's going to go. We're going to place this here. The other thing you'll have in your kit are these flowers here. These are going to be going on top of that. And when I first did this, I loved the look just like this, but what I found out is that when I placed my hand inside, sometimes my finger would get caught here. So I decided to make sure I put it high enough, and then this underneath it kind of helps it, because I really like the look of this piece. You can place this here on this end, either like this or like this. So this is just the order we're going to be doing it in, just to give it the finished look. And then this is going to be going here, and that's really almost, actually forgot something else. You'll also have this in there, and I'll show you what to do with that. So do you see these little swirly lines? That's where I'm going to actually place it all the way up to the edge of my wristband. I'm going to glue it there. But first I'm going to trim these ends here. I want the edges to look finished. So I'm just going to trim some of that off, you see. Because when if anything shows, I want it to be look lovely. So you can see that if that would be what would stick out and show, that's going to look fine. And then we're going to basically place this so that the overlap, when it overlaps here, these swirls are on as though they are the edge. I'm going to go ahead and just glue this part, since this is the part that I'm telling you that I want you to put it on. And that will go right here along the edge. I'm sticking this underneath just so I can glue it down. Okay, so you're basically going to be layering, and remembering what you're doing is also using the edges of that pink that's underneath. With the other ones, it won't be pink, it'll be a cream colored felt. And this, once you have all the components, this is actually going to go pretty fast. And then on this side, we could use this, and I think I have it on this one facing, you can see it right there, like that. There you go. It's just a piece of lace that I put on there, and you're going to be putting things on top of it, so how much glue you put is up to you. I usually tack things lightly, and then I go back and I reinforce it more if I think it needs it. Okay, so you can see that that just makes it, gives your edges a nice look here. You'll get leaves that look like this. They are just a piece of fabric that I loved the color, and I thought they would make beautiful leaves. So you can go ahead and just grab them and do this to them like this, and then just tie them with a string or a yarn or thread. And can you see how that turns into leaves? And look at this one. You see they just go right behind. You can see the leaves on it. What happened is earlier I forgot to turn the camera on. So you can do it that way, or you can use a hairpin like this. I use these hairpins to make actually the pink flower you just saw, and I gather it this way, and I do a very similar technique to this one when I do it. Here you go, and then I put it through, and I wrap it, remove the pin, and it works, but I think your hands will work fine, but some people like to see more than one way to do it. And all I'm doing is tying these leaves together so that they actually have form to them. So you can see, almost like if you would sew. So you could have actually sewed that also. And then you'll take your leaves and you'll attach them to the back of your pink. Okay. So when you put this down, make sure that the back felt is even on both sides, so that you're actually on the center of the felt, working on the center of the felt. It's not exact. So this flower that you are going to have will look like this with this circle here. Okay, this part right here, because I always want everything to have a finished look, I'm going to actually glue it up like here. Just place some glue right on the little metal where the flower is attached, and take this and just put it right over it. Okay, and you see that it's just a little fold. See that? And then when we place it down, it will have more of a finished look, but it'll still have that beauty. And then the other thing you need to consider is that these right here, I'm placing them right above this here and here. I think about that, and then you can attach them. So I'm just doing some gluing, and like I said, you can do more gluing later on. So now I'm putting this side on. I am looking here to make sure, and that's because when you put on your piece, you don't want your fingers to get stuck in this, and they still might, but they won't get stuck as much because of that. Okay, so that part's done, and over here on this side, all I did was place the bead that I gave, that you will find in your package. It looks like this, and I glued it right along the edge. You can see here I put one pearl right in the center here, and I just cut here and here, and there we go. I just glued it right on there. Okay, and then this is done because we took those leaves and we attached them on here. And at this point, when you're going to put them on, you can actually decide where you want to place it. And it's okay if it's on top of these flowers, because that is my style. That's what I do. You might want to make sure this is glued down, the center portion, which I'm sure I had done before, but since I had to remove it, Okay, so now right here is where I'm going to put the glue, a little bit just on the center, because I do place, and at this point here, when you're putting this on, you can decide if you want it to be a little lower or a little higher, because you want a little bit of those beads to show. And I like it a little lower, I think. But there's something else is going to go here, so you don't want tons of glue. Okay, and then you can kind of shape where you want your leaves, if you want them to peek out more or not. I wanted them to peek out just a little bit, so it gives it a little bit of that pastel green in the background. Okay, when you have your leaves, if you wanted to peek out more, you just go ahead and cut them in half. And then you just twist them when you put them on. And then you can make them stick out more if you want, see? But my style is like that, just that little bit of leaf sticking out. You can pull it up through the petals if you want, or just leave it down. So that's how it looks so far. And then the next thing I do is I will have a piece, some pearls like this. And these pearls we're going to go right here under. You're going to pull up the flower, and they're going to go right onto this circle that's right there. They'll be attached there with this flower coming over it. Can you see that? So you do want, you can determine how long you want this. If you, I think it needs to go under the flower, up to the under the flower. So remember how we just glued the center here. So now we're going to actually put more glue there, and we're going to attach the beads inside there towards the center of the flower. Now I will want to show you just the difference of the lavender one. If you end up getting a lavender one, there's a couple of small differences that I do want to show you. So now that is all attached. Now the other thing you will get in your kit will be a bling. And when you're ordering, so that bling will go there. But before I put the bling on, look how pretty. It's already done. So you go around here, and you're going to go and reinforce any place you feel like it needs more structure. So right here where you just finished doing this, there's a leaf there. I want to make sure my leaf is upward the way I want it. And maybe that little string, I might trim it a little bit more. So now is a point where you go and you make sure that everything is glued down enough. So I put a little bit of glue on top of the beads so that when these petals come down, and I don't put any, that's the only glue that's on those beads. I'm not going to put any other glue because I want them to lie free. And if you want them to, like, say you want one to come over on this side, you can. And you can pull it over. Let's see. So I like to give you ideas on things you can do, but I want them all just here. And they do not need to be totally even. They look pretty just sitting there. Now, you might decide that, oh, that's a little too long. I think that is a tiny bit long, so I'm going to trim that one. Trim this one a little bit. There we go. Put it right over the flower. Over here, let's check. Okay. Now, I'm going to put a little bit of glue in there. It doesn't feel loose, but at the same time, again, I always check my leaves. I'm pulling my leaves up and pushing my flower down. So I want my leaves to show. This feels snug. You can see here, there's the leaf. And there's a lot of room, so I'm going to glue a little bit down. You don't need to glue that much, but just enough to make sure it's not going to come up. And you can also check underneath the leaf. So this is just extra glue. There you go. And check this. Looks fine. Okay. Now, let's say I also have something else in here for you. I'll give you a piece of this here. Now this is just for you to use an extra thing. And this would be like, let's say that you did something and it looks messy to you. These types of things are perfect for you to use. You cut them apart, and they're perfect for you to use to cover. Now, the first time I did this, for the first one I made here, I had to cover a lot of things. I used a flower to cover it. I used some of the fan. And that's what these are for. So just in case you need it, because when I did my first one, I needed to cover some things. And that's part of what layering can be used for. It can be used for that type of a purpose. So let's say I have here a flower. Remember when I told you to fold this pink up? Well, that solved my issue about it being raw. So you don't need to put anything there. But what if you don't like this? You can just place this here. You can take this little fan and place it right there. See that? That's cute. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. And it's just to cover a little bit of the raw edge of this bead. And the end of this right here. And it'll just layer on top of it and it'll give it a cute look. And then at the same time cover. So I like these little fans. So I'm gonna put it on the edge. And I'm gonna make sure you pick up those leaves. You don't want it on top of the leaves. And then I'm gonna place it about just to cover. You see that? And then do you want it under the flower or on top of the flower? So it gives it a little bit of a look. And then I make sure if I'm going to attach it any further, I attach it. I'm looking at the underneath. There's the felt right there. So you can put a little glue on the felt area. That's where I'd rather put it, and maybe a little bit on that raw edge. There we go. So these are just so useful to have a trim like this that you can use. So I will put a piece in there for you that will have at least 2 flowers and 2 little fan pieces. Okay. Okay, so right here. Okay, so I'm going to put another one on this side just to even it out. And right at the same time, I'll check to see where that felt is. So I'm going to put the glue here. Some glue there. And a little bit on the fan. I'm doing this all backwards. I'm doing it all thumbs. All crooked and wrong. But that's okay. You kind of understand what I'm saying though. So now you have it there. And it's fine if it's sticking up because it's a pretty piece to stick up. A pretty lacy piece. And then you can take your, oh that's right, you need to take one of these now. On this one, you see I put a piece on there. And what I did is, because this is like an oval almost shape, it's not really round, I went into the center and I cut off this netting. Just cut out the netting. See that? And when you do that, you're able to pull it, and then now it's rounded. See that? I just figure out some crazy things, don't I? But anyway, so that's all you need to do. Let's cut it out. I didn't have it all cut, and pull the opposite way, and it gets a little more rounded. So that's going to go here. And also when I'm gluing it, I'll do that. I'll make sure it holds its shape the way I wanted it to. So let's put this in the center. I'm going to pull here and put it right on there so it'll look centered. And then this, I'm going to glue. Nice generous amount. Put it right in the center. Can you see how it all comes out and comes together? Okay, so here we go. There is our finished corsage. And you'll have all the pieces in your kit. And you can purchase the kits on my Etsy page. And as you can see, you have your band here. Now the other thing I did forget to tell you to make sure you check. You can check in here to see if this is attached enough, which is when you overlapped it. That's what that is. Double check that. But pretty much this is all you need to do for the pink the pink corsage. Now I'm going to show you next, those of you who just are here for the pink corsage, you don't need to watch the rest. I'm going to explain the difference between the lavender. So I'm going to show you the differences in that. Okay, what you will get is you will get this trim, and you will have 3 peaks of this trim instead of 3 peaks like this, and you will have 2 pieces of these butterflies. And what you'll do is I want you to cut out the butterflies. Okay, so this is just the differences I'm showing you, which are not many. We'll pretend this is the band. So this one will be attached here, like this. And then the butterfly, one will be attached here, and the other will be attached on this side. And you will make them come down. Let me show you. You can see them attached. See there? So that's the difference there, but the rest will be the same. Although on this one I was experimenting and I didn't have the felt. You will get a cream colored felt to use instead of what I used, because this was my experiment. And you will still get the flowers to be able to put them on the sides if you wish. Those flowers, and even on these flowers you can actually put a pearl there if you want, or here. But the other thing that's different are these. You will have this flower, and actually this is the last of these flowers that I have, so I don't have any more of them. But I only have enough to make 8 of these kits with this flower. And those will just go on the side. Just like that, instead of these other flowers. The pink one has these organza flowers. I decided to put these. I think that looks lovely. So they will be on a wire. Here they are. See, they're on a wire, so you can actually just trim the wire some and then just attach them the way you want. So, and then the centers, you have this center, and I think I might have one other option, I'm not sure, but I don't have a whole lot of centers left. So you're going to get the center, or if there's an option, it'll show on when you order if there's another option. And the pearls I used are slightly different color pearl, but in general it's pretty much, those are the only differences. That flower goes there, and you can choose even not to use the flowers, but that's it. It's pretty much the same thing, and you will be putting it together the same. This is Liz with Crafty Devotion. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and that you will be excited to make your own. Head on over to my Etsy store to order, and you'll see the choices there and the prices and everything. I will talk to you next time, and I hope you were inspired by my